Hi, it's Chris again, and I spoke to you about creating unconventional mad gifts to give to your party members. And I know the first thing that people think, they're like, well, that's that's a pain in the butt. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to I don't know what to give them. I could probably come up with a couple things off the top of my head, but past that, it just seems like that would be quite a struggle. So what I did was, and this is just a small amount that I just came up with in the last like 5 minutes and everything, just to give you some examples of what you could do to actually be able to have these type of things in your game, and to be able to give them unconventional items that are going to replace heavy magical items, and create a reward system and everything that doesn't push you into a Monty Hall game. Now, the first thing that I want to go to is henchmen and pets. And the reason why I say henchmen and pets are great because players will go to great lengths to keep their henchmen or the pets alive. You don't want to give them a pet that's strong or a henchman that's strong. You want them to be able to be taken out within a hit or two, so that even though they may be really powerful, their pets and everything are not. You don't want to create a system in which that they can join their hit points or their AC or any of that crap. If you do something like that, you want to do it on a very minor level, but you want to make it so that they're actually concerned about the well-being of that person or that creature and everything in the game. Now, as a GM, this is going to give you a lot of opportunities. One of which and everything, it's going to force the player's hand. You can actually kidnap them. Then all of a sudden, you've got them going in this other direction and everything to get their henchman back, or their pet back. You can turn your focus from the big baddie monster onto that henchman, but you've got to you've got to shadow it, so they got to be able to see it. Like, oh, the monster's turned its attention to, such and such, and then all of a sudden, that guy, if you created a good henchman that they're gonna like, is gonna actually stop doing what they're doing there, and they're going to do something that's going to actually be able to save that henchman's life, which is going to lessen their effectiveness in combat. You can pick up. This can be downloaded. I want to say you can download this for free. It's just pre-generated characters. They're for many different systems. You don't need this. Everything that I'm about to show you can be gotten off online. Dragon Magazine is infinitely useful, and this is why. First off, everything that they made in Dragon Magazine was, say, think of it like a point-buy system, and for them to be able to make something in it, they're going to have to skew it down so that Dungeons and Dragons would have accepted it. So everything is already underpowered in the magazine. I don't think I've read a lot of magazines from them, and I don't think I've ever seen anything that was powered up. And they give you all kinds of things like pets, different pets that have different abilities, and these pets can do some really cool stuff, have an actual decent intelligence, and most importantly have an alignment. And that alignment, you have a bunch of guys that are like neutral evil or they're chaotic good and they're pretending like they're chaotic evil, you know, a creature like this can actually keep them in line. And once again, you can have the creature get kidnapped or something to the effect, or an exotic um, animal dealer stole it and took it to the big city, and he's going to try and go sell it. And now all of a sudden, the party's like, "You're not stealing from me. That's not going to happen. We're going to do something about it." And then you have a plot that can last several sessions, you know, forcing them to go in this direction. What I would suggest, and is say you're running a game and you've got this great idea. You're going down this path and everything, and then all of a sudden the players throw you a curveball. They decide that they're going to go off in left field, and you have nothing out there, and there is nothing that you can do to pull them back on track right at this moment. You know, you get to a point where you make camp, and then boom, their pet is stolen. And it's also a great way to, then from there you've already got like several sessions written out for that. You already know how that's going to play out too. And so from there, all of a sudden, you know, your game is actually, you're back on maybe not the track that you were doing right at that point, but now you're on a track of something that you can work with, something you have written, and the game won't seem linear. And these things are awesome to get to players. I mean, players love pets. They love pets. You know, somebody gave me an NPC by accident, and I wasn't even trying to keep the NPC, and I'm probably gonna end up losing her anyways. But you know, it was this running joke that because there was a he wasn't a paladin, but he had really good charismatic skills, and so did I. And I was gonna let her go and everything, and just go back and return to her group. And then he's like, yeah, let's try and keep her. And so he rolls, you know, for persuasion. I was like, you know what, the hell with it. I'm gonna roll in here, and I'm rolling a 24 on my persuasion to get her to stay. And all of a sudden now we have you know, an NPC that's running around with us and everything. And I'm making out of character, you know, jokes about, you know, going to go take Spot to go play fetch. You know what I mean? And players love stuff like that. Let's go. Other stuff that I found in like Dragon Magazine is you're gonna find a lot of things like anything from different races, or you're gonna find different prestige classes, and they're all underpowered. But in a lot of these prestige classes, they're dead. They're dead. You're probably never going to see them be put into anything. However, if I didn't say that every one of those prestige classes didn't have unique abilities that were distinctive to them, then I'd be lying. And so, for example, like in these distinct, I'll use the frog one as an example. You know, distinct special advantages and everything from the Chitans can also move through webbing as a movement rate of 9. Their skin secretes an oil that prevents them from becoming entangled in their own webs, and Chitans automatically make saving throws if one is permitted to avoid becoming entangled by other webs. So who's to say that you don't come up with something that says, okay, your character is now you know, has an immunity to web spells. Another great one would be like and it's got to be class. You really want to go class specific on these. So, like, say a minor level spell, maybe not even a 0 or a 0 level spell, or first level spell, and the wizard now can cast that spell, as a silent still spell. They, you know, they, the magic missile. You know, all of a sudden now they have the ability to cast magic missile as a silent and still spell. You know, something that they use often, but it's not overpowered. You don't want them to be able to cast delayed blast fireball as a silent still spell. You know, but something like that they would love, and they know that no matter where they are, you know, they can cast that. Just little things like that really make a difference. Now, I pick up a lot of stuff from different crates, like RPG crate. Sometimes I get dungeon crate. Sometimes, well, I get myth horde. And interesting things is you'll find little treasures. And I am I'm a very generous GM when it comes to, I will do magical backflips and everything to make your character um, creation become personified. I want you to make what you want to make, and I want you to have fun with it. And if I can make it possible, I'm gonna make it possible. And so, like, one of the people that I had, he wanted to take a guy that was like kind of like a cat person, and so he made this cat-like person female, and so you know, I said, okay, well, what's the closest race that we can have to this? And they have that lycanthrope race and everything. And so then we did some gauging and stuff to make it more. Well, you're always in a cat form, and you gain these bonuses, and you have these distinctions that give you a benefit to doing this and doing that and everything because you're a cat. However, you have these kinds of disadvantages because you're a cat. But like, I thought that this black pudding had some interesting things because it had a cat girl in it, and as a cat girl, one of the things it says is, you know, curiosity can kill you. Um, they have to make a wisdom check whenever they see something that's like shiny or something like that. So if I ever wanted to create like some type of curse or something like that, you know, or I wanted to make it in conjunction, kind of like passing a bill in Congress. You take the good with the bad. I can add that with something else that has a negative or has a positive. But like 9 lives. If you die, roll d12. On a 9 or less, you're miraculously alive with 1 hit point, but now you have 8 lives left. You can downplay that. You can sit there and say you have 1 hit point, but you're rendered unconscious. You know, but something like that is would be a great boon to a player. They would love that. I mean, let's face it. You hit that 0 point and everything. You know, someone's going to run over there. Someone's going to cast, you know, heal on you before you die, or someone's going to cast resurrection or true resurrection on you and everything before you're gone. You know, but it's not going to it's not going to hurt the game. Now, here's another one. Meow. By turning on the kitty charms, you gain a +2 on your reaction rolls to help you get what you want. That would be great. You could do you know, maybe you could do it as kind of like an encounter ability, you know, once per encounter, or you could do it as, you know, a permanent gift that gives them a +2 to initiative, or +2 to persuasion, or, you know, something to that effect and everything. But you know, you can call it kitty charm, you know, and it's there. You get the creative juices going, and you know, you don't have to necessarily do it off the top of your head. And so much of this stuff you can find online if you're decently proficient with Google search. Another book I picked up, and this book, I love this book because it affords a lot of interesting abilities. It's I got this in I think a Myth Horde box, and it's Playground Adventures. You can look up Playground Adventures, and it's creature components. Now, the cool thing about this is this does a couple different things. One of which is it gives you a monetary value associated with parts of creatures that can be sold. But more importantly, well, I would say just as importantly, and in this case, you know, we're going to emphasize it a little bit more, is that by utilizing these creature components, they someone can actually boost their spell. A Behir Teeth can be used to increase the energy damage inflicted by a spell with electricity descriptor by 1 die type to a maximum of D12. If the spell is 3rd level or less, it also increases the caster level of the spell by 1. So, who's to say, and you know, like this is a Behir Tooth or Teeth or whatever, that it's not a charm. And the charm actually affords them, and you got to do this where it makes sense. Like if you got a player that constantly casts fireballs, and that you give them something that that this magical trinket and everything, as used as a focus, can give them ability to add another D6 to their fireball and cast this a level higher. And I guarantee you that your player is going to be excited about this. It's just. But you, like I said, you have to do this on something that is relative to what their character does. You can't, you know, give me something like this and they don't ever cast lightning bolts. Isn't going to help. You know, if they're constantly casting fireball, you will want to give them something, or make it up yourself and everything. But a book like this will really give you the ideas and everything, and it looks really sexy. I mean, This is a good quality book. I mean, the artwork is phenomenal, and I don't know how much it sells for Playground Adventures, but I wouldn't say it sells for that expensive because most of their stuff is 3rd party and it's designed for Pathfinder, so slight adaptability if you're not playing Pathfinder. But slight. Another book picked up, and I want to say I did not spend much on this at all, but this is a Book of Feats, 5th edition. I bought this book with the intention of utilizing the feats in it to give my players, or give my character a lot more options. However, even though it has 150 feats, these feats are weak as shit. And I'm not saying not weak. They're weak enough that you wouldn't want to use them in 5th edition as a feat. However, they are powerful enough that if you were to give them or a breakdown of them to a player, it would be a great boon as a present to them. So let's just go with what I find here. Arcane Shield. You can convert any spell into a defense, ability to cast arcane spells. As a reaction, you can sacrifice a spell or spell slot of 1st level or higher and gain a shield bonus to AC equal to the level of the spell or spell slot you sacrifice for 1 minute. The cantrip spells may not be sacrificed in this manner. So, you know, to make it somewhat effective, you're going to sacrifice at least a 3rd level spell, which means you're going to sacrifice a fireball or a lightning bolt. You know, if you're going 4th level spell, you're sacrificing something pretty powerful to give that +4 bonus. But, and it won't be used very often and everything, but I guarantee your player's going to love it. for a fighter, catch off guard. You do not suffer disadvantage when using an improvised melee weapon. So that means you pick up something off the ground or whatever, and you decide to beat something over it, you're not going to suffer disadvantage. You gain advantage on attacks against unarmed opponents when wielding an improvised melee weapon. So you get into a bar fight and you hit them over the head with a chair and everything, you're going to have advantage. If an opponent is unaware of your intention to use an improvised object as a weapon, your first attack with improvised melee weapon is made with an advantage. So you don't have disadvantage when you're using a bar stool to beat over someone's head. They get disadvantage, and if they don't see it coming, you get advantage. And that's really what that would be for. Or you just escaped out of a freaking dungeon or whatever, and you don't have any weapons, and you're all of a sudden using a block of wood to beat your opponent back and everything. Now, how often would that be used? Very rarely, except for, with the exception of the guy that goes in the bar and loves to pick fights and everything. And something like that's good too, because they won't be killing the enemy by beating a chair over their head, but and so they may spend a night in jail and have to spend a small fine, which then you can take away some of their other more powerful magical items to pay for it. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about giving stuff to your players, and you just have to think about it. And there's a lot of resources that are online. Dragon Magazine actually has, well, I don't know if Dragon Magazine has it, but there is a site that you can look at every dungeon in every Dragon Magazine that has ever been written, and you can download them as PDFs straight from the Google search. You just click on the site, it has a long list of them, and boom, you can just go ahead and download it. Just look it up in free PDFs for Dungeons and Dragon Magazine. And there's lots of different items that you can come up with that you can give your players and everything. Another thing I wanted to show you is, I looked this one up. So some things are like skills that they don't exist anymore. And you can have even further breakdown of skills. But like rope use, that skill doesn't exist anymore unless you're playing in possibly Pathfinder. Forgery, read lips, give them the ability to craft a specific item or type of items. Another thing is you can give them a bonus to an ability score, or you can give them 5 more hit points, or you can give them a bonus to their initiative, or and turn it into a tomb, and the tomb disintegrates after reading. You can give them a bonus to a skill that they already have. I guarantee you, if there is a main skill and someone has been dumping points into it, and that is their skill, and you give them a +1 to it, and they're going to be excited about it. You can almost always give a +1 to perception, and anyone's going to love that. And plus, who has a high wisdom other than a cleric and maybe a druid? But you can give them like a +1 to perception, and they'll be excited about that. But like I said, you can advance a specific spell. You can advance a specific ability. You can there's all different types that you can give them, and you give it to them in the form of like a tomb, where the cover really gives away what it does, you know, and you don't want it to sit there and say, you know, random, wondrous, you know, book of blah, blah, blah. And it has to do with, you know, gives a warrior great cleave. And the wizard reads it, you know, and then the wizard has great cleave and the warrior doesn't. So you want it to be, you know, you want the right person to end up with the right gift. But I hope that gives you a good idea on some of the things that you can do to improve your game and be able to give things that are unconventional, that'll give slight advantages without overly breaking your game, and allow you to regain some control over your game or maintain control over your game. Alright guys, let me know what you think.